Are you having a hard time with your hurdling where you spend too much time in the air? Maybe you hit the hurdle too much and you feel like it's slowing you down? Well, I can help you. What I have here is a video sent in to me by a collegiate hurdler who's having those very issues. I'm going to walk through how we can correct it and maybe it can help you too. This is Kendall. He's a collegiate hurdler. He's been hurdling for 5 years. I don't know if he's a freshman or sophomore in college, but this is what he's telling me his issue is. He feels like first that he spends too much time over the hurdle. Now, I get a lot of videos sent to me. I've seen thousands of videos, probably more than that. And I honestly have to say, I don't see him having an issue spending too much time over the hurdle. In fact, I would say he's exceptional at going over the hurdles. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First, I'm just going to slow it down so you can take a look at him. Okay, his curve over the hurdle, what we call the parabolic curve, that's where you take, say, his hips or at any point in his body and you watch it track over the hurdle to where it lands on the other side. There's always some sort of a curve or an arc there that you want to have as flat as possible. His is honestly one of the flattest that I've ever seen of hurdler of any level, okay? The only thing that I think his issue is the fact that he doesn't appear to me to be a tall hurdler. I don't know what his height is, but he doesn't seem tall, and these are 42-inch hurdles. My guess is when he was in high school and doing this over 39-inch hurdles, he was probably blazing fast. In fact, I still think he's doing really well here at the collegiate level. He's doing great. You can see he dives straight at the hurdle, doesn't go high. He's very low over the hurdle, which I'll come back to in a second. And he comes off the hurdle really well and not losing any speed running to the next hurdle. And he has no problem getting there in 3 steps. Honestly, it's very admirable. And I haven't seen people in the Olympics look any better than this. Now, I mentioned his height. Again, I don't know how tall he is, but I'm just looking at how he looks relative to this hurdle. I'd be surprised if he was even 6 feet tall, jumping 42 inches. It's very commendable how good he is at it. And some of the adaptations that he's made to be this good is he's learned to straighten his lead leg out flat as he goes over the hurdle. That enables him to stay lower because he doesn't have to get up high enough to clear his heel if his knee were bent. The other thing is he stays really low over the hurdle, which is what he needs. But the last thing, if you notice, he has to cover quite a bit of ground landing on the other side of the hurdle. Probably what he's concerned about is why can't he get down quicker, faster over that hurdle. And normally when you're smaller like this relative to the high hurdle, this is one of the adaptations that is made is the spacing to and on the other side of the hurdle in order to stay low. Because otherwise you have to take a high angle and slow down. So this might be as good as he can get. But what I'm going to do is I did notice a few things that he could do to get better, and maybe he can get better at this. The first thing I notice is as he comes into the hurdle right here, notice where he's stepping far out in front of his center of mass. Not a good final plant step to go into the hurdle because it's going to slow you down a little bit, put on the brakes, and kind of want to force you to go up. Although he doesn't do that, he is putting on the brakes a little bit. So I would definitely work on his plant step, getting underneath that. Some people call it a cut step to get it there. And he can do some drills to work on that. He can do a wall drill working on the lead leg, but throwing in a cut step into it. Or some people call it a wall drive drill, working on that. Also, whenever you reduce the spacing of the hurdles with off-speed spacing or what you call a cycle drill, he could use that as an opportunity to work on getting the plant leg underneath him. One thing that's interesting, if you notice him here, his first step coming off the hurdle is pretty good. It's elongated here, but again, I think it's an adaptation for his size. His second step is actually pretty good in that he's got his knees pretty close together, but then he takes surprisingly a long third step. So what I would recommend he work on is to keep his first step the way that it is, elongate the second step here, and then shorten the third step So it's quicker in getting him over the hurdle quicker. Lastly, if you notice here, this is pretty normal. When an athlete kind of squats down a little bit, you can see their center of mass drop here on the second step. Pretty normal. Now, when he goes into the third step, what you see the elite guys do, like in the Olympics, they will approach the hurdle and you could see them visibly raise up. It's like as if they're trying to extend their bodies up high so that they go over the hurdle reached up really tall. You want to feel like you're on your tiptoes as you go over that hurdle. So it gives you an advantage of almost coming down on the hurdle. So this is definitely something he can do because he didn't do that. He still has a relatively low center of mass, which is the opposite that he'd want. Certainly if I'm correct and he's not tall, he's not gained an advantage by doing this. So I would work on coming up taller into the hurdle. So the two things I'd like to see is, or three things, elongating the second step, decreasing the third step, getting it underneath you, but come into that third step up really tall so you can go a little more at the hurdle versus up at the hurdle. So that's it. If you'd like to see how I can help you with your hurdling, have me review your hurdling, or get a copy of my hurdle technique and drill guide, you could click on the link in the description below.